Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dev Diary, where today we continue working on our Plants vs. Zombies Cross Vampire Survivors mashup. Now last time we started to establish some sort of gameplay for our mashup. While it wasn't anything crazy just yet, it was successful in allowing the player to not only place plants, but also pick them up and use them as mobile weapons. And so now with an actual idea and direction for the project, we can focus on more gameplay elements. Starting with the plants, the sunflower was added, and with it came some enums and global data for each plant. Much like our Vampire Survivors clone, that data is stored in structs. Moving to the controller object, new menu-related variables were added. These would be used to construct, well, a menu system for seeds and the player's inventory. This menu can be brought up at any time, which also triggers the slowdown effect added last episode. And using our button system, if there is a valid choice available in the menu, that data is stored for future use. For example, in our new seed functionality, first, seeds can be added in any amount to a seed list as an array. Next, seeds can also be removed from the seeds list via seed ID. And if the seed removed would leave the count with less than 0, it's automatically removed from the seed list. So a sun seed will result in a sun plant being placed, and so on. The seed removal function is then used to remove a seed from the list, and as you can see, both seeds and empty hands use the same code. So let's talk changes to the shovel and what the empty hand tool does. First, the player now has an inventory list where grabbed plants are stored. This is done via one of the new functions, literally storing the struct ID for the grabbed plant in the list. A remove function also exists to remove a plant from the list via struct ID, and there's also a function to find the ID of a plant in the overall plant list based on the ID stored in the inventory list. So as you may have guessed by now, when the player grabs a plant via the shovel via the grab plant function, it also stores the plant's ID in the inventory list. And just like with the seeds, if the player chooses a plant via the menu using the hand tool, they can then place a plant from their inventory. And so now the player is able to place plants via seeds, then dig them up via shovel to use as a weapon, and should they ever have to put that plant down again, can use their empty hands to do so. All controlled via a menu that slows down time to give the player an opportunity to do whatever, but not completely overwhelm or shelter them from impending dangers. And so finally, the Sunflowers edition also changed the way projectiles behave. First, sunflowers spit sun orbs out in random directions that slowly lose momentum over time, while the default P moves at a consistent rate like it should. The other difference here is the enemies are not damaged by the sun orbs. This is temporary though, since I'm not sure if combining the two will complicate things in the future. And that was it for the new content this session. Now I do have some notes. The first being that the sun should probably hurt the enemy since, you know, vampires, sun, lore, which I've only now considered. Next, actually implementing these menus and the concept really changed the feel of the game. Like, it's actively gone from an action game to more of a strategy game. And I don't necessarily know if there's a way around that other than to maybe do a hotbar or something instead. But regardless, I'm surprised that things have synchronized as well as they have thus far. It's odd to have to swap between tools. I kinda like that not everything is instant, and so scrolling to a desired tool instead of hitting a hotkey means making more calculated decisions. It may even be better to implement timers into the grabbing/placing of plants. Or maybe instant is the way to go and we do need hotkeys. I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud right now. There's still a few bells and whistles yet to be added, that being again tip the scale, so we'll have to wait and see where things go. But for the time being, I'm cautiously optimistic, but realistically still expecting the worst. So with that said, brings us to the end of today's Dev Diary. So remember, if you enjoyed today's entry, consider leaving a like. Be sure to also subscribe and hit that bell if you haven't already, and let me know what you think of the direction we're headed, what you think will or will not work, and why. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.